Well, I got some good news, so that's good. Welcome, good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I'm Lunar D8, and I'm just talking about some random bullshit with my personal life. First off, less invasive option. So that's because I remember one point they were mentioning multiple options and saying they'd probably have to do the full-on surgery. And the other thing they had would probably like less than a third of a chance of being successful. But they reevaluated that, and the much less invasive way of doing it should have at least a 50% chance of making where I never need the surgery ever. And the other 50% I would still just need to get the surgery I was going to eventually possibly have to do anyway. Because I wanted to avoid that surgery because I'd be out for like 3 to 4 hours and basically be reconstructive surgery to a degree on internal organs. So essentially what would be going on with that is I'd be getting cut open between the ball sack and the butthole and doing actual surgery on that. Again, it's not supposed to be major. I mean, it's not like it's an organ like your heart or your lungs or something, but you know, any kind of surgery that has a person getting cut open is not good. But, and of course there'd be the thing where I'd have to have a catheter in for 2 weeks straight, 14 days, and then I'd be, have to pull out. So that would suck. But, yeah, for the time being, it looks like I should be able to avoid that because they reevaluated that other option. So, granted, the other option's still going to suck to a degree. Basically, it's going to be one part of it be going through another cystoscopy, but a little bit more thorough. Basically, doing a bit of a I shouldn't feel this uncomfortable trying to describe this. Basically, it's going to be a repeated cystoscopy where the thing goes up my dick with the metal pole and the camera and everything, and into my bladder and all that, and then of course, but they're just more so going to do a bit of a dilation and move some stuff around a little bit inside my organs, but they're not actually going to have to cut me open. So, at most, I'd be out for less than an hour for that. So, as opposed to being sedated for 3 to 4 hours, maybe less than an hour. The other thing is, it's still going to be, I'm going to be very uncomfortable from it, but it's going to hurt. It's going to be a lot less. Like I said, it's a less invasive option. Greg, it's more lemon lime soda. As I burp into the microphone. But yeah, so at least I'm not going to be sedated for 3 to 4 hours and have them actually cutting me open and doing actual reconstructive surgery on me. That may still happen eventually, but hey, if anything, I can at least put it off for a while. Because like I said, they reevaluated the chances of the less invasive option, which is, like I said, the less invasive option is still, yet again, shoving things up inside my body and then, of course, dilating parts of organs and just sort of moving stuff around, but they won't actually have to slice me open or keep me sedated for such a long-ass period of time. Still, definitely feel nervous and uncomfortable about that. And one, it's still going to be uncomfortable for a few days at least after that. And granted, I won't have to keep a catheter in for 14 days straight like I would with that surgery, but I will still have to have a catheter in me for the first 24 hours. So that's going to suck. But that being said, it should have a 50% chance. So, like I'm flipping a coin. I have a 50% chance that I'll never have to have that surgery, and it should be perfectly fine. The other 50% chance is that I will eventually need the surgery. Could be a few months later, if I'm particularly unlucky. Could be a year, could be a few years, could be a decade. So I could just go a whole 10 years before, oh, you have to go have the surgery now. So, and like I said, initially it was kind of odd just because I remember at first when they were really looking into it, and especially given the images they got from that one cystoscopy shoving the camera into, like I said, at least they put me under that for that, but it was like, that was like 15, 20 minutes I was under, and let's just say I did not wake up in the most comfort, and I did not, it didn't, like I said, it wasn't horrible, but it did not feel good for a while. Like it really, 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 really hurt to pee for a couple days. Like a lot. And of course, there's that one thing where they shoved what's considered a small catheter up my dick and pumped a fluid up the wrong way and watched it in real time with a X-ray machine to see the exact issues with my bladder. Because they wanted to see how fluids are moving around inside that. Because like I said, it's basically a stricture, so like I said, not anything real major, but at the same time, if it goes untreated, will eventually kill me. But like I said, I did have that when I made the part 1 of this playlist, is back that one day where did have to go to the ER for a little bit just because was acting a bit too much to the point where it's like, okay, maybe I'm going to have the surgery right that day in a rush. But didn't have to do that, thankfully, but had to start talking to the doctors a bit more, try to schedule things. But yeah, like I said, they reevaluated certain things, and it's just, like I said, it is kind of odd, because that first time they were like really setting me down talking about it, they were like really wanting to push the surgery, because they were like, oh yeah, considering that you're a bit younger, it's probably just better to get the surgery now and get over with, that way you don't have to deal with this as a possibility in the future. And that, considering they were like, okay, it's less than a third of a chance that it's going to work, and even then we think it might be more of an issue recurring pretty quickly back. But like I said, they were reevaluate that and look at certain other things, and they're like, okay, it's at least a 50% chance that it would work. And even if it doesn't, it should be at least a little bit longer before you'd have to actually have the surgery. So it's a less invasive option. It still sounds really fucking awful to me. But again, I kind of have to do this. Or, more serious medical issues like death occur, I guess. Or just, I don't know, other inconvenient things like death. So, yeah. So I actually have that scheduled for like mid or I think like third week of October. So how long do I have? May, June, July, August, September. Less than 6 months, so slightly over 5 months. Yeah. And at least I'll probably be off work for a few days, maybe, from that. I mean, I know with the surgery, I was probably going to take at least 6 weeks off work and do medical leave. But with this just being probably me taking a few days off work for this less invasive option, I might just use a few vacation days. I mean, I'll have more by then. I could just save them and use them for that situation. I still don't want to do it at all because everything's going to be painful and suck and it's uncomfortable. But it is what it is. But like I said, at least give it a 50% chance that it'll work long term forever and I'll never have to have that full on, surgery. So the less invasive option, I guess, is better. It's still something that's not exactly. I'm not looking forward to it. Still kind of dreading it. But it's not as much as, actually having a full on surgery where you're getting cut and open by a blade and they're stitching you together on your organs and stuff. And it's better just to have a catheter up you for 24 hours instead of, I have no idea how many hours, 14 days. So 14 times 24, that many hours. Try to do that in my head real quick. 96. Give me a moment, I'll get there. I say 344? I'm not going to bother checking with a calculator. You guys can check if you care enough. But so if I had the full-on surgery, I'd be having to have a catheter up my dick for 344 hours straight. But just having a catheter up my dick for 24 hours straight is, I guess, preferable. I just still don't want to do that, but I guess it's the better option. It's the less invasive option. And besides, I at least have slightly over 5 months before I have to do that. Aside from that, like I said, I'll be drinking that one tea with the lavender, chamomile, peppermint leaf, and catnip starting tomorrow that I got a few weeks back. So maybe that'll help me sleep better. Also, MRA. It's another thing a doctor's wanting me to do, along with other things. Haven't scheduled that. At least it's not like anything like it's going on immediately that it's just like, oh, it has to be done, like right this moment. But, because otherwise, well, if that was that point, I wouldn't be able to actually record a video. But, I mean, granted, my short-term memory issues, like, I've never smoked weed or anything. But, like, short-term memory issues, one, I am getting older. But, it's, one, probably a lot of the concussions. I mean, I've gotten hit in the head so many times. Heck, I can't say I really ever won very many fights, but I have gotten the shit kicked out of me so many fucking times. I've taken so many blows to the head by so many things. I've been hit by bricks, bats, stomped on, punched probably 100,000+ times. I have no idea. I didn't bother counting. Just saying, there were times where I got the shit kicked out of me. There's times where I've been strangled till I was blacked out. There's times I've been strangled multiple times where I didn't black out. There's times where I've been hit in the head by a lot of very hard things. Been hit by a truck at one point. I've had my head stapled, like a dozen or so staples across the left side of the head. At one point thought I was having a heart attack one time. My limbs were going numb, so I was driving down the freeway, not able to feel my arms or legs. Probably not the safest thing, but I could still make my arm do the things. And I couldn't really feel it very well, just in a lot of pain and numbness. Still out of breath all the time, though. Don't know why on that. Not that it really matters. I really can't complain. All things considered, my health is good. And I'm able to at least make it to the gym on a consistent enough basis. Sorry, I was spacing out. So much for making any kind of short, concise video. But, I mean, thought I was having a heart attack. Went to the hospital. Went to the ER. They're like, hey, I think I'm having a heart attack. And they're like, do you want us to put you in a wheelchair and help you to the other part where the actual ER part is? And so I was checked into one spot. Like, nope, I got it. I'm fine. 20 minutes later, I couldn't even sit up. So at least I got there by the time I did. I spent a few days in the ICU after that. They pumped me full of so much shit. Because apparently, a lot of the minerals and stuff that your body's supposed to need in order to function properly were at dangerously low levels. Like the amount of magnesium and stuff the human body's supposed to have, my body just didn't have the things it's supposed to function. But more importantly, they're like, yeah, we have good news and bad news. Good news, your heart's fine. Bad news, your brain's swelling. I'm like, fuck. So, I actually had a spinal tap, too. And that sucked. That was shitty. Having a needle in your fucking spine is not cool. By the way, I'll sell chiropractor again today. Still didn't really crack back much, but I think it's starting to help. But lemon lime soda is not helping me with not running out of breath for some reason. Lemon lime soda's like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm like, what are you here for? It's like, I'm here to be delicious. I'm like, okay, you do that right. But apparently, I had meningitis and encephalitis attacking my brain and my spinal cord and stuff. So that kind of... Then again, I've had, numerous times I've had fevers. I've probably had a fever of 106 a dozen times. I actually had one of 107 once. But yeah. Then again, the amount of times I've been exposed to various chemicals and poisons, and granted, I've never done drugs. It's just had some shitty ass luck. But then again, I guess followed by really good luck, the fact that I'm still alive. But yeah, chemicals are not good for you. But of course, at least that's stuff that really I couldn't do shit about. But at the end of the day, I'm still doing perfectly fine. Then, one could say short-term memory issues could be in part due to just psychological issues. I usually tend to be stressed out a lot, and I usually tend to have, a very long-term depression at this point, which I don't take antidepressants. Aside from maybe try to take a couple herbal supplements from a vitamin shop or a GNC or something. Never to really take anything for antidepressants unless you count eating pizza or cheeseburgers as that. So, not that I knock anybody for who does take that. That's up to you and your doctor to decide. It's just, I would prefer to do my best to not be dependent on a chemical if I can help it. And even then, it's just certain things I hear about that, I'm just anxious about that. So, the fact that I'm usually either, one, emotionally upset about certain things, or there's stuff from the past that still kind of weighs on my mind. There's some stuff that's going on IRL right now that does kind of stress me out, and then there's other stuff I just tend to overthink about, and then there's stuff that, some stuff from 10 years ago, some stuff from 30 years ago, but mostly it's stuff from 20 years ago that was just, still tends to be on my mind, and I still just sort of, certain things just sort of stick with you. So I think I've been making improvement on sort of trying to move past certain things that were a bit traumatic and things that are bothersome. If anything, maybe able to better coalesce my own feelings and just basically just sort of get better-ish, I guess. In general, I still advocate that people, like, mental health is important and that you should see a doctor as well as a therapist and stuff. You know, I guess necessarily the way I'm trying to go about doing stuff is probably not what everyone else would do, but I'm not exactly, like I said, I'm not qualified to determine what's considered normal. I'm just trying to find a better way in terms of my life and how to live and how to be happy and how to be the best version of myself that I can be. That being said, main thing is just wanting to live life the way I'd probably enjoy the most. I don't know. I will say this. I enjoy listening to music. I enjoy watching anime. I enjoy trying to play my guitar. So, there's all that. And of course, there's lots of other stuff, but I don't want to be too personal about stuff. So, just between emotional issues, that or the fact that my mind tends to be preoccupied, drifting off to think about that sort of stuff. A lot of times there's sometimes where I'll be talking to something and I'm like, I'll have multiple different subjects popping in my mind at one time. So it's like, and sometimes I'll have a conversation with somebody out loud and I'm trying my best to follow along with the conversation, but like I'm also having multiple other conversations going on in my head where I'm just sort of like discussing with myself other things that are going on and just... But I think I do a good enough job to focus, and at least in IRL stuff. When I record videos, I just sort of let myself go, because forcing myself to stay focused, it's a lot of effort and it's very exhausting, and it's just much more relaxing to just sort of let myself go more free form like I am when I do these videos. Also lets me more so sort out my own thoughts and everything. Because it's like this. If anyone's listening to this for any sort of life advice yourselves, I'm just some random crazy guy on the internet. This is just me thinking out loud. This is just the fact that a lot of times I really just don't. One, I have a lot of people to really talk to IRL, and even then, it's not like I'd be able to talk to them like this. I'd probably drive somebody crazy. Could you imagine how annoying I would be? Well, I mean, you guys are listening to this, so you guys get the idea. But imagine, like, if your IRL friend was wanting to talk to you like this, in such a rambling, incoherent fashion. Plus, it's very selfish. Like, I wouldn't be giving that other person a chance to talk about their stuff. And even then, it's just like, it's just thrusting so much of your own emotional issues onto somebody else, and I don't want to burden somebody with that. Plus, I don't want to annoy people. At least I've just like accepted with this channel that me being myself here to the full degree is annoying as shit. Like, I understand that I am boring to listen to and I'm annoying. I just sort of accept that's who I am. But in real life, I have to be much more structured about that. I can't just let myself, cannonball through a conversation in such, a fucking reckless manner is what I'm doing right here. Because like I said, one, it's rude, and two, I imagine it would just be so fucking irritating to listen to someone like me in real life. Because here's the thing, at least if someone out there is listening to this, if it's really irritating you, I mean, you can just click pause or stop listening at any point. I mean, even then, at this point, why would you listen to this far anyway? I mean, if you do, that's cool. I'm glad you're there. But at this point, it's more like this is just a journal I'm recording because it makes me feel better. And it helps me to sort of sort out just how I feel and helps me to decide more on my own time when I'm not recording how I should try to proceed in terms of trying to take a step forward or make things better, maybe find a way to improve sociability, or maybe something like, okay, maybe a different thing I should focus on at the gym, or a different direction to going when it comes to drawing or guitar, or maybe just a new type of anime I'd want to check out, or just an ASMR I should check out when I try to get some more sleep. And that's the next thing. It's like maybe the memory issue is just the fact that I've been sleeping so badly. Granted, I do work third shift, but I mean, I got blackout curtains, and granted, sometimes there's construction and stuff going on outside, and there's usually a tornado siren that usually goes off at noon. But really, that's not too bad of a thing. But like I said, I'll be trying that one tea. It maybe help me get proper sleep. So that's probably the other thing that's also fucking with my memory a bit. Is that just... And heck, maybe that also is an issue when it comes to the gym. Because I really can't seem to make any progress when it comes to getting stronger at the gym. But again, maybe proper sleep would, help with that. I like ice cold sodas. But, yeah. But beyond that, there's also concerns, like I said. More to the point with the MRA is, which I assume everyone's already familiar with what MRA is. It's kind of similar to a CAT scan, but whereas a CAT scan is more similar to like an X-ray, an MRA is more, it's a magnetic resonance angiogram thing, I think. Angiography. I think it's pronounced angiography. But it's... Though at some point doctor feels probably a CT scan probably wouldn't be a bad idea either, but... all things in time, I guess. Though they had mentioned that in the past too, but they are getting more concerned about it because of other things as well. And again, I don't want to go into detail, but just more reasons to be concerned that maybe doing an MRA of the brain is a good idea. That, and also just I have other issues when it comes to other things. Plus, there's just family history of it. My older sister, she died back in 2010. Had an aneurysm, and that was that. Okay, fuck. Thought I was more emotionally over that, but I am fucking lightheaded as fuck all of a sudden. That's weird. That is really weird. Anyone else have that? Like, if you start thinking about something that's too personal like that, you become more lightheaded, and it's slightly dizzy, and everything looks a little bit brighter in here now. That should fade back to normal here in a few minutes. Usually does. And but like I said, also 6 years ago, 6.5 actually, my mom, she had an aneurysm, then of course had 3 strokes on top of that in the same day with it. She's still alive, she's still doing okay. For about a year though, she was talking with a bit of a slur and having trouble to keep her eyes open a little bit. But she's made a full recovery within 2 years of that, to the point that you'd never be able to tell. Though there might be some times on occasion where she's talking to people and someone might think that she's a little drunk. And it's like, no. She just slurred a couple words. But yeah, all things, it's a miracle she's still alive, and I'm glad she still is. I love my mother very much. I actually remember being a kid, like some of the best things was playing Robo Warrior with her. It's an NES game she played. Grandma played some Mario 1 and 3 with her. I played more of the Dragon Spirit. She was never good at that game. And that sometimes when she was cooking, I'd sit in the kitchen and just talk to her about various things. So, like I said, she's not perfect in regard to everything. I mean, no one's parents are. But all in all, I wouldn't trade her for anyone else in the world. She's my mom, and like I said, I wouldn't trade her for any other mother. But like I said, it's a miracle, one, that she even survived. And like I said, within 2 years of all of that, she was, for all intents and purposes, 100% full recovery. So that's awesome. So that's really, really good. But again, it's and like I said, other family history stuff with certain things is just obviously there's been some concerns of heart attacks and stuff like that. Now, granted, I at least don't have to worry about lung cancer or anything because, well, I don't smoke. I've never smoked anything. But that's probably also really good for my veins. That's kind of a funny thing. You'd think as much bacon and greasy food as I eat that I would have high cholesterol. I don't. My cholesterol is perfect. I have perfectly normal cholesterol. But I am getting calcium deposits in some of my veins. Like, there's actually been, like, they've done some x-rays of my abdomen. And they're like, okay, between the x-rays and the other scans they've done, because they've also done MRI, which is different than MRA of my abdomen. And they're like, one, apparently I have some small hernias in various places, which I guess is okay as long as I don't try to lift super heavy. I don't have to worry about the hernias getting bigger. And just various issues with a few organs just sort of not really behaving the way they're supposed to in terms of starting to move in the wrong spot. But more importantly, it's just a few granulomas and stuff that's... And of course I've had kidney stones too, but it's... Try not to go into too much detail, a few things here and there, but... Yeah, also, like, there's been a few small calcium deposits forming in some of the veins that, you know, the blood vessels. Some people actually have cholesterol where they start having, you know, plaque buildup. Me, for some reason, I'm having a few spots where there's calcium. Almost like I'm growing bones inside my blood vessels. But apparently that's not a major concern, and my body should be able to just, like, reabsorb the calcium out of the blood vessels, apparently, in time, eventually, maybe. If it doesn't, then maybe they might be concerned, but even then, I don't know what the fuck they would even do. But I guess it's not important. I guess. But yeah, either way, at some point, I at least need to do a damn MRA of my brain. So at some point, probably should schedule that. Oh. I'm probably not going to drink it, because I don't know. And I guess the reason why this might be a bit of a curiosity is, I mean, maybe no one else would find this to be interesting. But you know, like those ramune drinks they sell? They have the Satoichi Nashi Ramune. It's the golden pear sort of thing. The Japanese pear flavor ramune. Which on the one hand I am kind of curious about the flavor. At the same time, let me read out the ingredients to you. This is the thing I thought was kind of interesting. And again, Maybe it's just dumb on my part to find it interesting, but I find it interesting. Almost to the point that this might be something I might want to keep, and I'm not sure if I want to drink it. It's something I might look into. Maybe I'll drink it. I don't know. I haven't decided. Like, it's distributed by Japan Crate in Culver City, California, product of Japan. But the ingredients: fructose corn syrup, domestic production; fruit juice, produced in Hiroshima Prefecture; carbonated water; acidulants; fragrances. Okay, one, I have never heard the word acidulants before. It is probably all those long chemical names that are usually on the and then fragrances. That's another thing to be odd in a drink. But yeah, fruit juice produced in the Hiroshima Prefecture. So, by the way, is it better pronounced at Hiroshima or Hiroshima? I don't actually know. But yeah, it's the golden pear, the Japanese golden pear flavor. So I'm just going to leave it unopened for now. Still got its little plastic wrap seal up here. It's only a couple bucks. Might just save it for now as sort of a collectible. Maybe I'll drink it in the future. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, like I said, I just figured I'd share that stuff. I mean, like I said, all in all, that's good news that, they were able to reevaluate that the less invasive option at least has a 50% chance of working. And if it doesn't work, well, 50% chance I never have to have that other surgery. A 50% chance that maybe a decade in the future I have to have the surgery. Yeah. Either way, I mean, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm fucking dreading it. But I guess it's at least I have the less invasive option as a possibility, right? But yeah. Either way, I definitely need to try to get more sleep. And like I said, at least been working on things, and I think I'm getting better in terms of just coping with a lot of things and just sort of sorting certain issues out. I think I'm getting better. But I hope everyone out there had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.